Teresa, owner and CEO of NursePreneurs, and I'm here with Teresa Sanderson. Do you want to introduce yourself, Teresa?
Hey, yeah, I'm excited to be here, Catie. Thank you for having me. I am a nurse entrepreneur and have a work from anywhere business and just, love all things business and marketing.
So, we've been talking a lot, and, one of the areas that we see nurses struggle, and, myself included, is struggling, is in the marketing aspects of the business. So it's one thing I always used to say, setting up the business was the easy part, which it is and it isn't. But the marketing piece of bringing people into your business is very, it's a lot more intense and it's a lot more longer, right? Like you set up the business once, but you market forever.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right. So, one of the things that I wanted to talk about on this, and we're looking to do lives like these weekly or bi-weekly so that you guys have some aspect. And Teresa's already doing marketing in the Facebook group. So now you're going to have lots of marketing. And one of the things I don't want is for people to chase after shiny objects. So I think, kind of sticking with some basics first, because you got to get the basics down before you start adding the other stuff in. It's going to be important.
I agree. And, when you talk about the basics, everybody needs an email autoresponder. We need a way to schedule our social media. We need a way to send out our email newsletters. We need a way to capture leads, on our website, things like that. And those are, like you said, they're the basics. They're the tried and true staples of, nursing business. And, but it's so easy to get caught up in shiny object syndrome because somebody always says they have the next big thing, when in reality, beyond the tool, it's your marketing strategy and it's the content you're putting out there that's going to get your clients. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember getting kind of sucked into Russell Brunson's message that you're, one funnel away from $1 million. And it's just kind of like, okay, but you forgot to mention all the things that have to go in to have a funnel that leads to $1 million in the first place. And that is, it really comes down to the core of having one concept or one business concept that you're really working towards and that you're selling, because that's always been my problem, is trying to sell like 50 different things at once, and you're like, let's sell this and this and this and this and this and this, and it gets crazy.
Right. And I think when we don't know, because a lot of nurses dive into business and we feel like, well, I set up my LLC, I've got this, I've got that. That, like you said, is just the very beginning. It's the tip of the iceberg. But we tend to think that we can just go from traditional clinical nursing into business and snap our fingers and we'll be successful. And it's just not the case, because just like we had to learn a lot of things to go become a nurse, there's a lot that we need to learn about business and entrepreneurship. Not anything that we need to go back to school for, but there's a lot of knowledge that needs to be gleaned, before we can be successful. And that's, that approach of the shotgun blast is what I used to do. And it was why I had, launch after launch that was failed and just not successful, because I didn't give people a clear path through my marketing of, number one, what I offered. So when you talk about 10 different things, people don't know what to do. And then I never had a progression of content that led them to a certain thing. So there's that too. And, once you learn those things, it becomes pretty simple.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, because that's been the difference between, we've seen a lot of nurses set up IV hydration, and I have some nurses that set it up and they just go off running and it looks so easy. They make it look so easy, but whether they've done it intuitively or more likely they've studied some marketing and have an idea of what it is that they're doing. It's not the product. It's the marketing, it's the flow, and it's how easy is it to work with you that really makes or breaks a business.
Very true. Very true. I absolutely agree with that. And as much as we can, automating some of those processes just makes it that much easier. I really love that, what I've done, and a lot of what I see you doing at NursePreneurs is it's automated. People can easily set up appointments or consultations, schedule a time to discuss. And when you make yourself available that way, it's wonderful to see your calendar just kind of filling itself spontaneously because people can access your stuff and take the next step.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because there was a point where, I was kind of like, oh, nobody really emails us or contacts us. And, kind of realizing that, well, first of all, there was nothing on the website to contact us with. And as soon as I put on a chat, like a web chat,
Yep.
I actually had to hire a company to manage it because we literally get thousands of messages a month. And I'm like,
Wow.
oh, that's where everybody is. Like, they were trying to contact us.
Yeah, we just didn't know where. I love that. I love that. Funny thing is, I did a presentation last month, I guess, at a conference, and I showed an example of how when you have enough meaningful content out there, people will actually find a way to contact you because somebody sent me a message and said, I tried to sign up for your free thing, or I tried to send you a message through that page, but it didn't work. And so I found this address and I'm sending it here. And I thought, so even when things aren't perfect, if we have a way, for people to connect with us, they will use it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you a secret way that I mean, it's not really secret, but I always go into the terms and condition page because they're mandated to put their, and
there you go.
If they're on the up and up, their email address will be in that page. So sometimes that's the only way.
Yeah, pro tip, guys. Yeah, that's a good one.
Like, I am going to get a hold of these people.
I love that.
Right. And because another thing too, which is frustrating with websites, and this is, that I want to showcase, how our NOLA works with all of this stuff. But one of the irritating things, and this happened to us too, was you'd have a contact page and that contact page form goes into like the either, I looked in our WordPress at one point and I'm like, there's like 200 messages here from like 3 years ago. Like, I'm obviously not going to answer them now, but like I didn't get notified about any of them. And it didn't, for whatever reason, dawn on me that I should be checking WordPress for messages.
Yeah.
Like, of all the things you have to do, like nobody wants to log into WordPress and search out messages.
Exactly. Yeah. And those are funny, not funny things, but those are things that you learn with experience. And unfortunately, like an experience like that one, that's money lost. And it's
lost.
And clients that you weren't able to serve. And one of the things that happens, and you and I both know this, is that when we open the door and make somebody aware of a problem that maybe they didn't know they have, and that we have the solution for it, and or that we just have the solution for the problem they're looking for, once they started looking at us, they'll go find that solution somewhere else if they can't reach out to us, if they can't find a way to connect with us. And so that's why having all these systems in place just makes so much sense.
Yeah, and you have to, and that's one of the reasons too. Like, I've had nurses come to us and say, they've done ads and they don't work, and then you kind of like go into it, and it's like, okay, well, you sent all these people to your website. There's no way to capture any other information.
Yeah.
So basically, they went away, and if they were like, oh, that was really good information, and they're trying to find you again, they find your competition.
Yeah. And the competition says, fill out this form. They've got everything set up and ready to go.
Exactly. So, so all those things that we just kind of talked about, the things that really made a difference were having a way for people to contact you. And then that sounds really, ridiculous and obvious. Actually, it just happened to me again with my Philly Wellness Center.
Oh, man.
I was working with this one person, and she's looking at my NOLA dashboard, and she's like, you had 64 missed calls this past month. And I'm like, oh my God, like, good. She's like, that's 64 missed opportunities. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, if you don't answer the phone and people can't get a hold of you, they go somewhere else.
Yep, exactly.
So, we do have, there is an opportunity, the phone system does link straight to you, but if you can't get to it, it now sends an automatic text message. Hey, I'm with a patient right now. Please, you can text me back and let me know how I can help you or when I can call you back. So just something that's friendly and interactive. So it seems like, that it's not just completely automated.
And that's such a great feature of, what you have to offer in NOLA, because that missed call text back, having it automated though, that's the beautiful piece, is that if we miss the call, if we didn't get to it, for whatever reason, then we are responding, through that autoresponder. And that's just a great service, to have.
Right. Because there's nothing worse. And I've certainly been on the other end of it where you're calling a business and it's just the phone's ringing and ringing. Actually, I called because I'm going to get my car registration renewed, and I'm calling this auto repairer and like nobody will answer the phone. And I'm getting so angry. By the time you get somebody on the phone, I'm like, you want to scream at them. And they're like, all I did was answer the phone. Like,
so true. So true. Yeah.
But that's all part of that journey, and the journey how your brand is a good portion of your brand is how you lead people to you and the experience they have with you.
Oh my gosh, yes, and that piece is so important. And like you said, just having it can be automated, but have the message be conversational. Just like you record your voicemail for your phone. We just want to have something that's conversational, sounds like us, not in some kind of bot speak or anything like that. And people will respond to that because, like you said, they just want to know what's the next step. And if we don't give them a next step, they will find our competitor.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Teresa, what are like the first couple of steps that you take with somebody that's brand spanking new and wants to start a business with marketing?
Oh goodness. Well, the first things that I like to chat with people about is, we need to understand your mission and your vision for where you're going. I really want to understand that about a person's business so that I can really give some good direction. The next thing I really want to look hard at is, what kind of lifestyle do you want? Because if we don't look at lifestyle, you can end up creating just another job for yourself, another job that you can easily burn out in as a business owner. And we've probably already been there, done that as nurses. And so it's really important to, stare that square in the eye. And I encourage first, design the lifestyle you want, really understand that, and then develop your business around that. Every business decision I make today is related to, does this require me to be location bound, or can I do it from anywhere? And if I can do it from anywhere, I'll look at it harder. But if it requires me to be location bound, I'm not gonna take up on it. No. Because that's not what I'm after anymore. There was a time when that suited me just perfectly, but now I want to travel. I want to, see my family wherever they are. And so that's kind of where I get started. And then from there, we look at, products and services. And a great place to start. And when people ask, how do I start a business? What could I do? I always encourage them, think about, what do people frequently ask you for help with? What kind of advice are people always asking you for already? Mm-hmm. You may have an opportunity right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, really kind of taking that, and that's where some really strong marketing comes in, because it's like, well, how do I take this that I'm already doing for free and position it so that people see value in paying for it?
Yep. I love that. And that's an interesting thing, because it is how we package it. And it's also how we, though, perceive ourselves. I think there's so much work that nurses, nurse business owners need to do in owning their value, because we're used to this arbitrary number that somebody has said they would pay us per hour, and we think that's what we're worth. when that number has nothing to do with us. It just is a statement from an organization that that's what they want to pay for that role. It has nothing to do with your value. So I think once we can identify what it is that we have to offer, when it comes to being able to sell it, it's more about how can we add additional value to it? How can we serve at a higher level? Yeah, I want to answer that same question that you've had and help you with that. But what is the next thing you're going to need? Once you get that piece done, how can I support you in the next level of growth with that and what you're going to want to do next? And that's where we find the real value in creating special packaging and unique offers based on what people just love to do anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I always, it was hard to step away from that hourly rate type of thing, and just kind of pricing everything. So I'll have nurses come and they'll want to share their course, and they're like, oh, I'm going to charge like $47 or $48. I'm not sure. And I'm like, first of all, we're not going to be charging either of those numbers. I'm like, but like waffling back between those as if that dollar was important. But the other thing really is looking at the value that the offer brings to the table and taking it off yourself. Like, it has nothing to do with you. It has to do with what the outcome is, and what is that worth to somebody, right? So exactly. Business coaching could range from anywhere from, there's masterminds for $500, and then there's Tony Robbins who charges $1 million for his mastermind. Yep. Well, is he teaching anything different? No, not really. It's not about what he's teaching. It's about who you get to meet and the opportunities that become available to you when you're at that level. So the value is there. It's not about him having like genius business ideas. I'm sure he does, but lots of people have genius business ideas.
Very true. Very true. And I think you're absolutely right. You said something so key there, is the focus in pricing. First of all, price is only an issue in the absence of value, right? It's only an issue in the absence of value. And so if we have something that we've created with intention to solve a problem in a meaningful way for our clients, and maybe we save them time, we save them money, we help them avoid pitfalls. What is the value of that? When you start really looking at that, what would somebody pay to be able to go from point A to point B without the hassle?
Right.
That's where value comes in, and that's where you can really set your price on something that you're going to feel good about, because you never want to sell something and feel like, man, I got ripped off when I did that deal. And by the same token, you don't want to feel like you've ripped someone off when you sold something. That doesn't sit well either.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I always say that this is really not a scientific way to deal with pricing, but, I tell people it anyway. And, we call it the happy price. So would you be happy doing what it is that you said you would do for that price point? So would you be happy doing, one-on-one calls with somebody on a weekly basis for $200? Then do 10 calls like that. No, like I'd rather just not have my time taken up, right? I'm not doing 10 calls and getting $200 total for that service. Would I do it for 10,000? Absolutely. I'd jump out of bed, be thrilled to do it. And you just keep coming down to the point where you're like, I'd be happy here, but not here type of thing. So, and then to your point, Teresa, it's about, okay, well, if 10,000 is the level, how do I provide enough value in here where my time isn't exponentiated, but I'm adding value so that it is worth $10,000, and maybe I only need to sell one package and I'm done for the month. Right.
Exactly. And I think that's where, and developing a solid offer, takes a little bit of time. It takes being thoughtful about, who your ideal client is, the person you want to serve, what their true needs are, really understanding their pain points. But once you come up with a nice offer, there's a couple things about it. It will be uniquely you. It will be uniquely something from you that even if there's somebody in a competitive space, most likely they're not going to be doing it the same way you are. And that's where, again, the value just increases, because as you serve more people and they have successes and are doing well with the products and services that you've provided, then you're just in the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a really hard time wrapping my mind around that, because I used to start businesses. I've started so many businesses that by the time I started NursePreneurs, my brother was like, "Oh, how long is this one going to last?" It was really spooky and obnoxious, and I was like, and it hurt because it was true. But and it was, it became my passion to prove him wrong. So that's, I guess I should be thankful.
I love that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, really kind of, now I lost my train of thought, but what was the last thing you just said?
Yeah. Where were we? Oh, shoot.
That's okay. We were talking about pricing, value, but yeah, I mean, anyway, it was, it's definitely been, it's been a long road, but it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, we were talking about, now it just came back to me. We were talking about how when you have clients that you've served with your products or services and they have successes, then yeah, things just really snowball for you from there. Yeah.
Triggered that. So anyway, I used to get really upset if I saw somebody that was in the same exact field that I was in, right? Like if I'm teaching business, nurse business, and then I saw somebody else teaching nurse business, I would be like, oh, I can't do it anymore because so-and-so's already, way far ahead. She's much more sophisticated. She's in this, she's that, I would find a million reasons why I couldn't do it. And I had done that with direct primary care. Like I had put together this direct primary care membership model. I was going to launch it. And then I found this group that was like 50 miles away from it. I'm like, oh, they're already doing it. They already covered the entire market. And I look back and I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, you know what I mean? Like it didn't make any sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've heard that so much first of all, we hear it in nursing all the time, all that kind of behavior. Let's just quash your dreams and vision right here. And, but when I first stepped into, being a CE consultant, I had a lot of people who would contact me and they'd say, I'm really looking for help in that area. Would love to add continuing ed credit to my courses. And I found a couple of people who would help me, who know how to do it, but they wouldn't help me because then they said I'd be their competitor. Wow. The world is a really big place.
Yeah.
There's room for success of all of us.
And still more, it's like,
yes.
Gosh. And now I'm in this space of like weight loss, right? And weight loss is hugely competitive, but to the other side of that coin, there's a lot of money there, right? And to your point, Teresa, that there's not one person that can service 4 billion people or 8 billion people. Like, I only want 200. That's my goal. So I can fit in that space very easily and compete with lots of different providers that are out there.
Exactly. And it's kind of, if you think of the Airbnb model, people who have Airbnbs, yes, there's a lot of Airbnbs in some areas, but the idea is you really only want to take one hotel room. One hotel room per day is all you need. You don't need, so it's not some enormous thing. And we have to look at things that way. And the other thing is that when people are looking for coaches and they're looking for mentors and that kind of thing, I know that not everybody's going to resonate with me.
Right.
My ideal clients, I'm a mature woman at this point in my life. And so my clients are typically 45, 55 years old. And I'm probably not going to draw in a lot of younger nurse entrepreneurs. And, that's okay. They need somebody that they can resonate with, who's going to speak the same language and, communicate the same way. So we can't, no one of us can serve everyone.
Yeah, and that's a good point too. So we pair up nurses with nurse coaches who are doing what it is that they want to do. So it's IV hydration or med spa wellness, whatever the case may be. And we just had a case where the nurse is like, I really like the coach a lot. She's great, but I don't like the way that she teaches. And, I said, well, one of the things that we need to do, because this is the same, I mean, she's a great coach. She's just not the right personality for them. Like, we really need to take Teresa's bank rate, right? And have all the coaches take one.
There you go.
I have I wouldn't be good with somebody that's super, super detailed oriented, because I would give them a bunch of 10,000 ideas and no detail, and they would hate me as a coach,
I love that.
And I know that. So we wanted to use the bank rate for, to get all the coaches assessed and then do it for the students and use it kind of off-label, if you will. For that.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Yeah, the whole personality science thing is just, doing people in the best way possible. It's just peopling in a very positive way. And when we can align those personality types, so many good things happen. I mean, we decrease the time it takes for people to understand our message. We, can help people make a decision to buy sooner rather than later. So many great things can happen with that.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe you want to talk a little bit about the bank rate and what it is.
Oh, sure. And the bank methodology is, first of all, what's really amazing about it is it's the only personality assessment that is scientifically validated to predict buying behavior in just 90 seconds. That is pretty amazing. And the other things you should know, I'm kind of a data gal, a little bit of a nerd, but 82% of people will buy from someone when the personality aligns with their own. That is huge right there, as opposed to only 18% of people buying if your personalities do not align. The wonderful thing is, though, is that through the bank methodology, this system that you're talking about, we can actually learn emotional intelligence on warp drive, because the bank methodology uses a values-based personality assessment, and it allows us to learn, gosh, well, my personality is, blueprint in the first position, and that person is in action. But I can learn by studying those personality types how to communicate with you in a way that's meaningful for you, as opposed to the way I would ordinarily do it. And that's what emotional intelligence is being able to, regulate our emotions, our communication, all of it. And so it's just a wonderful, wonderful system. And it actually helped me 5x my income just last year, which was amazing.
That is amazing. So when you get, you actually give the bank, is it called bank rate? Am I saying it correct?
It's just the bank.
The bank. Okay.
Bank code. Yeah. Bank code. Yep.
Oh, bank code. That's what it was.
Yeah, the bank code.
I feel like my dad. I call it everything but what it's supposed to be called. I apologize, but yeah, no, it was, when you presented it to us, it was quite interesting, and it makes sense, and it is a good way, because when you're talking about marketing, if you get all these people on the phone and then you can't close them because you can't relate, or you can't emotionally adapt to their personality type, then you're missing out on a lot of opportunities there.
Right. And the thing is too, that, there are the knowledge personality types. So there's 4 personality types: the blueprint, action, nurturing, and knowledge. And the knowledge personality type, though, when that's in the very first position, they cannot be closed. They are naturally kind of skeptical. They're going to have a lot of questions. The knowledge personality type is somebody who will read every bit of a white paper, and they're going to require multiple meetings. And that, to me, when I learned that was so liberating, to know that I don't even have to worry about closing this person. I just need to ensure we get the next meeting.
Mhm.
and then the next meeting after that, and the next meeting, and give them different pieces of information that they can learn along the way, until finally they get to the point that they say, oh my gosh, this is such a no-brainer.
Yeah.
That's what the knowledge will say. It's such a no-brainer, I'd be stupid not to do it. Then they're ready to go and become your biggest fan.
Right.
But yeah, but the action people too are the people who come to me and say, Teresa, I don't want to think about this very much. I just want to get started. The old me, more than a year ago, would have said, but wait a minute, you need to know this, you need to understand.
No, wait,
I kill the sale because I want to give them what I think they need to know. That's how we typically go in the world. But now anymore, I just say, okay, great. Shall I send the contract? And we're ready to go.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's so much easier when you know what you're dealing with too.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, sometimes you get on calls with people and you're right. I mean, the personality clashes because maybe the salesperson is an action person and wants them to take action. And how many times in sales training are you told that, if the person gets off the phone, then you fail, like they'll never call you back. And it's just kind of like, well, that's bullshit. Like,
exactly. People are people. And and that's the thing. We've all been told sales is a numbers game. No, sales is a people game.
Right.
The more we know and understand and value people, the more people we're going to be able to serve.
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So, okay. So one of the things that I do want to do, I do want to go over the NOLA aspects and tell you guys what it is and how it can be useful. So to do some of the things that Teresa and I have been talking about. So I'm going to present my screen so you will see. And I'm going to bring up, all right, so this is inside of our NOLA account. And the couple of things there's a lot of things that this can do. The couple of things that I do want to show you are the things that were most important. So for one, there is web chat. So this is a web chat for my NOLA account, but the same exact web chat is at the bottom of my website. And every conversation that is had comes into this conversations tab. And you see like people's names, phone numbers, every conversation you've ever had with that person goes into the conversations, which is really nice. So one, when you're marketing, like I said, the web chat was a huge addition. That alone, like I remember, I did a course. It was like 4 years ago about bots and how to set up a bot, and it was the most complicated thing that I've ever been through in my life. You had to do like Integromat and Zaps and Paps and all these connections, and I just was on the verge of tears trying to put this thing together. And then of course, like, if one thing is off, then the whole thing falls apart.
Right.
And so I paid a lot of money for that and never even got it set up because it was so complicated. I mean, when you're talking about like there's 12 modules, a community, like,
yeah.
It's not going to be easy, as opposed to here's a little bit of text. We'll put that on your website and then your web chat is launched and it's working. Right. There's nothing else to do like that. And we literally do that for you. So it takes like 30 seconds.
Awesome.
But yeah, so the web chat alone was worth so much because that's where, like I said, all of our conversations started pouring in. So we had to get someone to manage all the stuff that was coming in. And so now we have a full-time group that just answers messages. And some people will do support tickets there as well too. So they'll be like, oh, I'm already in this course and I need X, Y, and Z. So we can direct those to the right place. But if you're a solopreneur, you're by yourself. You don't want to miss these messages. You work so hard to bring people into your website, into your sphere of influence. The web chat forces them to put their name and email address. So now, we have that I have name and email address of everybody, and that goes into my contacts, right? So all their contacts go into here, and this is a dummy account. So there's, there's a lot of additional stuff in here, but yeah, I mean, that was the first one. The second piece of this is having SMS, right? So I remember if you wanted SMS, first you have to get a phone number. Second, you need to set up simple texting or Twilio. Did you ever do any of that stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You need another 12 module course. So Twilio, ridiculous.
Yes. And just all of the different parts, that was the tough thing of, doing all of that before, is that you had to have so many different accounts to be able to have everything you needed.
Exactly. So now we have, like, the phone numbers are set up inside of the NOLA account. You get your own phone number. And it's all, because now there's this A2P, compliancy, and this came from the mobile carriers. So they want to make sure that people are actually, they're the numbers that are being used are coming up. So this is, these numbers can be used. You can text with that number, and you can set up automation so that anytime somebody texts you, you get notified, or if it goes to the web chat, or you can answer via automation. And that's where too, like your email gets set up in here as well. It's another, it can be another nightmare. So we, I've been through email courses too. Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, we set up Mailgun inside of this so that your domain is the same. Like, I had that problem with Active Campaign because when I first signed up for it, my username and the domain were different. So, and it wasn't connected to the domain, so it stopped sending emails. And it was just like, oh my God, what is going on here?
Oh man,
nightmare. But yeah, I mean, the other feature that I like about this too is, like, I mean, it's kind of like, instead of having Wix, you can build your website here. Instead of having ClickFunnels, you can build your funnels here.
Yes.
You can host your WordPress here. You can build forms. You can build surveys. This is the chat widget, so you can, work on the chat widget and, change the style, the message, whatever you want. All of that gets done in here. So, yeah, you can add so many things. It's not quite dynamic enough to, what I want to say, not dynamic enough to have, like, if this, then that type of logic. But if you want to make sure that you capture every lead that's coming to your website, you don't have a lead magnet set up, the web chat can literally be the lead magnet.
Yeah.
The web chat could simply say, are you interested in our, I don't know, $20 body contouring session, or, or $20 IV hydration. And in order to learn more, they need to, sign up in the web chat. And people are more likely to do that than to download your guide to, I don't know, your 10 best whatever, right?
Yeah. I love that. And I think when it comes to lead magnets, it's really, the burden is there to really have something special, when you're creating a lead magnet, because just having something out there that says subscribe to my newsletter, nobody's going to do that.
It probably goes nowhere too. I subscribe to newsletters that went nowhere. I never heard from them.
Yeah. But I do love that about that little chat feature that'll just, it can just capture that email address a different way. And it's, people like that interactivity. They like that kind of thing.
Right.
It's spontaneous, and it just kind of meets them right where they are. So it's awesome.
Yeah, and I can answer because people want that instant gratification. But yeah, I mean, in terms of lead magnets, I mean, email addresses, people are really stingy with their email addresses now, and
Yes,
for
they
good
are.
reason, because people are selling them. And I had one time, I don't know who did it or what, but I received, like, I'm not even kidding when I say 500 emails. Somebody like auto subscribed my email address to like.
Oh my gosh.
And then I got all these emails, and I opened my phone, and there's like, you have 500 emails. I'm like, oh my God. Like,
How did that happen?
that would normally happen if I didn't check my email for a couple of days, but like all at once.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was crazy. So yeah, they don't want to give you their email address. So
Right.
you have something special and unique, like you said.
So, how long has NOLA been offered to the community, and how did you get started with that?
So we got started with it because I was desperate for, I was tired of the school of bots and trying to put this stupid bot together. And I came across this as a web chat. And so that's where it started, was web chat. And it was worth it to me to sign up for it. And I didn't understand. So the base of NOLA is high level. And you go into high level, I had signed up for a high level account years before that. And I was like, there's nothing in here. Like, I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. And, I just let it go. And then, 5 years later came back to it. And they've made dramatic improvements on it. But if you go into just a basic $97 Go high level account, it's completely empty and you have to do everything yourself. And you're just like, so one of the things that we did was, really take the aspects of NOLA that were so necessary for business, web chat, email, phone, and some of the automations and flows, and set those up so that we can set those up for people that join. So it's the same exact price as high level, but you get, you actually get service.
Yeah, love that.
High level, it's like you are 1002 in line. I've literally been on hold for like hours just trying to get through to these people.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that you say that, because, with NOLA, you took an off the rack product, Go high level, and turned it into a unique solution for nurse entrepreneurs. And this is what, this just goes back to what we were talking about earlier. This is how, we develop offers, and we just create things that will meet the need of the people we want to serve in a way that we want to help them. And so that's really very cool. It's a great example.
Yeah. And because it was one of those things too, like I switched over. I can't tell you how much money I saved because I didn't have to do Zapier anymore, and I didn't that's how it's pronounced. I canceled Integramatch because the school of bots made me purchase all that crap. So I got rid of all those, and that those two subscriptions right there. I mean, you're looking at $100 a month already. So I'm already on. The simple texting, I was able to cancel. The funnels, I was able to cancel special funnels. Website, I mean, you could build your website in there. So now you don't need Wix.
Right.
And the web chat for sure, having the phone number in there, like it was just so much easier. So we wanted that all in one, because I do some teaching for nurse coaches, and I can't tell you how many times they're like, well, I'm paying for email, texting, forms, calendars, all this stuff, and not necessary.
2 subscriptions a month for calendar and an automatic social media scheduler pay for, $97.
Oh yeah.
So easy. And that's not all you need. If you're doing it piece by piece, like you said, there's documents and contracts, invoicing, all the different things.
The statements, yeah.
Yeah, that you need to run your business. So
The other thing that saved me a huge amount of money was switching from Kajabi, and I loved Kajabi. Kajabi was wonderful. It's a wonderful platform. It's so easy. I've been on it literally been on it since 2016. So it's been, a long time. And I was just getting tired of paying it because I had to be at the higher level. So we were paying like almost $400 a month for Kajabi, which is crazy. And that's just included. And I think high level just copied Kajabi because it's the exact same platform. They even have a function now that says copy course from Kajabi to high level, and you just copy it and the whole thing moves over, and you're like, yeah, I'm not, I can't.
Yeah. It doesn't get much easier than that.
Right. I can't afford $400 a month when it's already included in my $97 a month.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Good stuff.
Yeah, that's really awesome. All right. Well, Teresa, this has been fun, talking about marketing and stuff. And I think, we're going to do these once a month. And I think it'd be great to kind of curate some questions from the audience and find out topics they want to talk about so we can explore them as we move forward with this.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think this would be a lot of fun. This is where, again, so many nurses start a business and then they get stuck. They get stuck finding clients or making sales or whatever it may be. So I think the more we can talk about marketing and making it meaningful will just help them. So yeah, I will definitely do some chatting and with the group on Facebook and find out, what questions do people have so that we can help them.
Yep, absolutely. Love it, and look forward to working with you and just doing more of these live streams. So thank you so much all right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for showing up today.